From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your routine Thursday weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. This briefing this Thursday morning covers the period the 9th of July through the 15th of July. And again, this weather briefing addresses Central North Carolina weather. So just jumping right into, I would say, the topic of the day, which is the coastal low. And as of 8 o'clock this morning, the National Hurricane Center has basically increased the formation chance for that low pressure center east of Wilmington to about 80% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone in the next really 48 hours or so. And I think really, this low is supposed to quickly lift to the north very quickly tonight, today and tonight, as the next trough approaches from the west and pushes it northward. Regardless of development, I think that second paragraph there is particularly important. The system is expected to produce locally heavy rainfall that could cause some flash flooding across portions of eastern North Carolina, coastal mid-Atlantic, and southern New England during the next few days. Gusty winds are also possible along the North Carolina Outer Banks today, and along the mid-Atlantic and southern New England coast Friday and Saturday. So there is a Hurricane Hunter aircraft scheduled to investigate this system today. So basically, this is a coastal feature. Impacts for central North Carolina will be fairly limited, though. So anyway, let me convey that here by this radar image, and hopefully, it just occurred to me that I have paused the screen, so please let me apologize for that. So anyway, let me back up here, and thanks again, Jeff, for pointing out that the fact that the screen was still on pause. So anyway, here was the slide that I was just alluding to, and again, sorry about the screen pause there. So here's the tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center, indicating an 80% chance of formation. So anyway, let's just go ahead and switch to the radar, and this is live radar data, and the numbers I have overlaid are wind gusts. So it's not particularly, now granted, there's not a lot of data over the water, so that's why it's important to get aircraft in there to sample it. There's the buoys are fairly few and far between out of the water, so it's difficult to actually get a good sense from direct sampling of wind gusts. So don't be deceived by those low numbers there. I'm sure there's some gusty winds associated with those heavier bands, but you can see that the wind gusts are mainly confined to coastal sections of North Carolina. This display probably isn't the best. I wanted to show it because of the wind gusts, but this display is the same, basically showing the same thing, the live radar. And the reason I wanted to show this too is because you can see some of these light specks of rain are making their way westward across central North Carolina. So that'll be the case for most of today. We're going to see a mixture of sun and clouds, probably more clouds than sun at times. But basically these light showers, off and on, I would describe as scattered showers, will be rotating from northeast to southwest across central North Carolina on the west side of that low. And let me get one of my drawing tools out here, and you can kind of see as I grab the spotlight here, you can kind of make out a little bit of a circulation here in the radar reflectivities right here. So that's roughly somewhere in here is where the surface low center is, and that's what the aircraft is going to more directly determine. But in these rain bands is where you would find obviously number one, the heavier downpours, and number two, the gusty winds. But the good news is that most of these heavier bands will occur today east of I-95, and here's the I-95 corridor. So if you are basically west of I-95, and I'll draw a little highlighter here if I can get my, if you're west of that yellow line there, I-95, you're probably just going to see these these little speck type showers that really don't amount to a whole lot. If you're east of I-95, that's where you're going to get into a little bit more of this heavier activity like you see here, and maybe some of these showers here might produce a heavier downpour too. Okay, so the highest rainfall amounts today associated with this low pressure system will be basically along and east of I-95. Okay, so what you see right now on the radar, and that's why I'm showing this screen, is pretty much going to be the character of today until this low departs to our north tonight and tomorrow. All right. So anyway, in terms of, like I said, in terms of the wind gusts, that'll be mainly confined along the immediate coastal sections. All right. So let's jump back to the slides here, and back to the typical slides that I show here. The weather pattern, you can see by Saturday that low pressure is going to be all the way up north by Long Island, and certainly we'll have our eyes on the next cold front or swinging through. But like I said, for today, low pressure along the Outer Banks will result in windy and wet conditions along the immediate coast. But for central North Carolina, only scattered showers and maybe a thunderstorm are expected. By tomorrow, we're going to be in between weather systems. We're going to be behind the departing low that I've been talking about so far and ahead of an approaching cold front. So we're going to be in dry weather between those two systems. So mainly dry weather expected for the daytime Friday. It's going to be hot tomorrow, and I'll touch on that here in a minute. And then the risk for showers and thunderstorms will increase again for central North Carolina Friday night and Saturday with that next trough and that next cold front. And then from Sunday on, we're looking at just mainly a very typical summertime weather pattern. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms will be possible each day, but it's not going to be a rain out. It'll be dry most of the time. It'll be hot most of the time. So hot and mainly dry weather with a passing scattered afternoon or evening shower and thunderstorm. Okay, so typical summertime weather. And then I think it's important to point out that the heat index values are going to really start to climb here as we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The combination of hot temperatures and high humidity Friday through Sunday will push heat index values to potentially dangerous levels in the upper 90s to lower 100s. So if you got outdoor plans next 3 days, definitely be prepared to take precautions. Try to do your outdoor work in the morning and the evening. Take frequent breaks, seek shade, air conditioning, drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water. Okay, so that's the key things here, and seek shade. All right. Speaking of those heat index values, I didn't include day one because some of those showers might keep the temperatures down, closer to the ambient temperature. The heat index values down to closer to the ambient temperatures, which will still be up around 90 or so. But as we get into the daytime tomorrow, and as we get into Saturday, and I apologize, I left the actual days of the week off these graphics, but the upper left is for Friday and the lower right is for Saturday. And you can see those heat index values, particularly along the US 1 corridor and the I-95 corridor. That's where it's really going to push up into the low 100s. So, and then that's pretty typical. That's typically the hottest part of the state anyway. So anyway, there you have it. Just be careful. All right, when we're looking at rainfall amounts, I'm not going to go through this day by day because it's pretty obvious here that the heaviest rain through this briefing period is expected east of I-95. And a contributor to that, of course, is the low along the coast right now. But when you add up 7 days worth of rainfall, basically across central North Carolina, we'll see about a ½ inch of rain. But, the caveat always is local higher amounts are possible where thunderstorms occur. Thunderstorms produce heavier downpours. A good thunderstorm could produce, 3/4 or an inch of rain in a 30-minute downpour. So, the values you see there on the 7-day total are kind of average values. Most places should see at least a ½ inch of rain, but there could be spots that get more based on where the thunderstorms and the thunderstorm downpours occur. All right, but those will be pretty localized. All right, are any of the thunderstorms we're going to get going to be severe? And that question is partially answered by this SPC convective outlook. Basically, this graphic features organized convection. we can never, ever rule out a gusty, damaging thunderstorm wind with pretty much any thunderstorm this time of year. However, in terms of organized, where there's multiple severe thunderstorms, we're just not seeing that in the offing here for the next few days, okay? Can't rule out isolated one or two here or there this time of year, but nothing really organized, all right? As we look further down the road, the heat's going to continue. So we're in a pretty good heat episode here as we head through most of next week. And then generally that's a drier pattern too. So anyway, definitely get ready to have to endure some heat here the next really the next 7, 10, 14 days. That's the way things are shaping up. So yeah, it's getting to be late July. So heat is oftentimes the word of the day as we head through late July. So anyway, wrapping it all up for today, low pressure along the Outer Banks will result in windy and wet conditions along the immediate coast. But for central North Carolina, only scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected. Again, the heaviest rain and the greatest wind gusts are expected along the immediate coast. All right. Mainly dry and hot weather is expected Friday. Then the risk for showers and thunderstorms will briefly increase again for our area Friday night and Saturday with the next cold front. That cold front really isn't much of a cold air mass change. It's sometimes we just call it a trough because it really doesn't bring cold air. but anyway, so really no air mass change with that front. Nevertheless, from Sunday on, we're in a real typical summertime weather pattern. Scattered afternoon, evening showers and thunderstorms. Pretty hot is the key thing there. And don't forget, it's going to be especially hot here Friday through Sunday with heat index values upper 90s to lower 100s, potentially dangerous heat. So anyway, just be prepared for that and stock up on that water so you can have it ready if you're going to be outdoors and drink all of it or lots of it as if you're going to be outdoors here next couple days. Seek shade and do your outdoor work in the morning and the evening if possible. All right. So that wraps up our weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. And I appreciate everybody joining us, those who watch it live and those who are watching it after the fact on YouTube.